Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, depending upon where it is that you are. Happy Tuesday to you. And so today I am going to be continuing on with, there's a glare here, with Carl Rogers, there we go, on Becoming a Person. And this is going to be page 52 through 54, and it's going to be sections 4 through 8 on how can I be of help. So here we go. 4. Another question, the importance of which I have learned in my own experience is, can I be strong enough as a person to be separate from the other? Can I be a sturdy respecter of my own feelings, my own needs, as well as his? Can I own and, if need be, express my own feelings as something belonging to me and separate from his feelings? Am I strong enough in my own separateness that I will not be downcast by his depression, frightened by his fear, nor engulfed by his dependency? Is my inner self hardly enough to realize that I am not destroyed by his anger, taken over by his need for dependence, nor enslaved by his love, that I exist separate from him with feelings and rights of my own? When I can freely feel this strength of being a separate person, then I find that I can let myself go much more deeply in understanding and accepting him because I am not fearful of losing myself. Number 5. The next question is closely related. Am I secure enough within myself to permit him his separateness? Can I permit him to be what it is he is, honest or deceitful, infantile or adult, despairing or overconfident? Can I give him freedom to be? Or do I feel that he should follow my advice, or remain somewhat dependent on me, or mold himself after me? In this conversation, I think of the interesting small study by Farson, which found that the less well-adjusted and less competent counselor tends to induce conformity to himself, to have clients who model themselves after him. On the other hand, the better adjusted and more competent counselor can interact with a client through many interviews without interfering with the freedom of the client to develop a personality quite separate from that of his therapist. I should prefer to be in this latter class, whether as a parent, supervisor, or counselor. Number 6. Another question I ask myself is, can I let myself enter fully into the world of his feelings and personal meanings and see these as he does? Can I step into his private world so completely that I lose all desire to evaluate or judge? Can I enter it so sensitively that I can move about it freely without trampling on meanings which are precious to him? Can I sense it so accurately that I can catch not only the meanings of his experience, which are obvious to him, but those meanings which are only implicit, which he sees only dimly or as confusion? Can I extend this understanding without limit? I think of a client who said, whenever I find someone who understands a part of me at a time, then it never fails that a point is reached where I know that they are not understanding me again. What I have looked for so hard is for someone to understand. For myself, I find it easier to feel this kind of understanding and to communicate it to individual clients than to students in a class or staff members in a group in which I am involved. Oops. There is a strong temptation to set students straight, or to point out to a staff member the errors in his thinking. Yet when I can permit myself to understand these situations, it is mutually rewarding. And with clients in therapy, I am often impressed with the fact that even a minimal amount of empathetic understanding, a bumbling and faulty attempt to catch the confused complexity of the client's meaning, is helpful. Though there is no doubt that it is most helpful when I can see and formulate clearly the meanings in his experiencing, which for him have been unclear and tangled. Number 7. Still another issue is whether I can be acceptant of each facet of the other person which he presents to me. Can I receive him as he is? Can I communicate this attitude? Or can I only see him conditionally acceptant of some aspects of his feelings and silently or openly disapproving of other aspects? It has been my experience that when my attitude is conditional, then he cannot change or grow in these respects in which I cannot fully receive him. And when afterward, and sometimes too late, I try to discover why I have been unable to accept him in every respect, I usually discover that it is because I have been frightened or threatened in myself by some aspect of his feelings. If I am to be more helpful, then I must myself grow and accept myself in these respects. 8. A very practical issue is raised by the question, can I act with sufficient sensitivity in the relationship that my behavior will not be perceived as a threat? The work we are beginning to do in studying the psychological concomitants of psychotherapy confirms the research by Dietz in indicating how easily individuals are threatened at the psychological level. At the physiological level. The psychogalvanic reflex, the measure of skin conductance, takes a sharp dip when the therapist responds with some word which is just a little stronger than the client's feelings. And to a phrase such as, you do look upset, the needle swings almost off the paper. My desire to avoid even such minor threats is not due to a hypersensitivity about my client. It is simply due to the conviction based on experience that if I can free him as completely as possible from external threat, then he can begin to experience and to deal with the internal feelings and conflicts which he finds threatening within himself. And that is the end of our readings for today. My cat is flying around the room playing with stuff. So we look forward to continuing on next time, starting with number 9 on the bottom of page 54 and completing this section at the top of page 57 and getting ready to start again in the next section. So have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you next time.